Welcome everyone to this June Public Speakers Association Virtual Summit. It's good to have everyone here. I'm really excited about our speaker lineup. We have a lot of great speakers. So we'll go ahead and get started with our first speaker. And our first speaker is Amanda Jacob. Amanda is a dedicated financial and life coach specializing in helping women who feel stressed and overwhelmed despite earning enough income. With a keen understanding of the challenges faced by those without a clear money management system, Amanda empowers her clients to gain control over their finances, alleviate their fears, and realize their dreams. Whether it's achieving a balanced lifestyle or building a business, Amanda's guidance paves the way for women to confidently transition from the comfort of a stable paycheck to the fulfillment of their aspirations. All right, so the time's now yours, Amanda.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Brian. So hello, everyone. I'm Amanda. I will not repeat that introduction. But today I wanted to talk about where to start if you want to begin managing your money and reaching your goals, whatever they may be, or pursuing your passions. And I'm going to cover three key areas. So the first one's awareness, the next is intention, and the last is action. So there will be some actionable steps. If you want, you can take notes during this presentation and write them down. I'll let you know where the actionable steps are so you know to start writing. But I highly suggest if you are implementing them to do them um, in order of the way that I speak about them, because that will create the largest transformation for yourself. So I want to start with awareness. The first step is to start understanding your money stories. Each of us have a very unique relationship with money that's shaped by our experiences and our beliefs. So I want you to start thinking back to childhood. That's fun to go back to, right? And the messages that you received about money. Two very fun topics. But the experiences that you've had throughout your life also uh, wrap into your money stories. So think about those also. So, were there any specific events or patterns that shaped your current mindset around money? So, this is one of those actionable steps. I want you to reflect on questions like, what are your earliest memories of money? Think of like, how did your parents or caregivers handle money? What were you taught about money as a child? And then things like, how did your family talk about money in general? Was it discussed or was it taboo? What kind of emotions were elicited in your household when money was the topic? And then what messages did you receive about money growing up? Did you hear things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that? Were there any positive messages also that were talked about in your family? Um, And then thinking about your experiences. So have you ever experienced, a financial windfall or a hardship? And then how do you feel when you think about money? And then what financial decisions do you regret? And which ones do you feel proud of? So those are some questions that you can ask yourself. And that's really the first step in figuring out how to manage your money, is figuring out what your history is with money, because we don't know how to change it unless we observe what's happened in the past. So recognizing these stories as just stories, as just the circumstances that have shaped you, is really the first step to changing them. For example, if you grew up hearing that money is hard to come by, but you make really good money right now, you still might have that scarcity mindset from when you grew up, which can show up as constant anxiety about spending money, even on necessities, or fear of running out of money. You could also hoard money excessively and never allow yourself to enjoy it, or make quick unplanned purchases due to fear of the opportunity that if you don't do it, you'll lose out. And lastly, you could constantly deny yourself small pleasures in life. And that's how scarcity can show up. So the next part of creating awareness involves the B word, and not like we talked about earlier, Brian, but I mean budget. So honestly, I don't care what you call it, but a budget is used to track. It helps you see exactly where your money is going and where you can make adjustments. Especially for those of us, I say us, who like to avoid or ignore your money problems and pretend like everything's okay. And here's the actionable step that I want to give you for this part of creating awareness. So I want you to start by tracking your income and expenses for a month. Use categories like housing, groceries, transportation, entertainment, hobbies, subscriptions, debts. Definitely categorize those separate, and savings, and whatever else you feel is necessary for your individual budget. But I also highly suggest writing it down or manually inputting it into a spreadsheet to start. That puts some skin in the game. And once you have a clear picture of your finances, you can identify if you need to cut back, if you need to increase your income, or both. So next, I want to talk about intention. One of the most powerful intentions that we can set is to learn contentment and practice gratitude. It seems too simple, right? But it's easy to get caught up in the cycle of wanting more. But true financial freedom comes from appreciating what you already have and what you've already learned from your experiences. So the actionable step here is simple. It is to start writing down one thing a day that you are grateful for. This simple practice can shift your mindset from one of lack to one of abundance, because in 1 year, you'll have 365 things that you are grateful for that we typically take for granted. And when you're content with what you have, you're less likely to make impulsive purchases and more likely to make intentional financial decisions. So another key part of intention that we talk about all the time is setting goals. But something I want to shine on is, instead of saying things like, I want to save money, we've got to be specific, and as specific as you can, and create a plan to achieve it. So instead of saying, I want to save money, be more specific. Say something like, I want to save $5,000 in the next 6 months for my business startup. And that last portion of that sentence, for my business startup, is the important part, because that's the why behind it. Why are you doing this, huge audacious goal of saving that much money? So the why gets you to the end of the goal. Then, in order to plan for saving, you need to break that huge goal into more manageable steps. And that looks like breaking $5,000 into, $833 a month, or $192 a week, or not 90, $27 a day. So figuring out what feels achievable to you. Then you got to ask yourself, okay, well, how do I get that money? What expenses can you cut back on? Or what can you do to create that income to save for that goal? But having a clear, actionable plan that makes sense to you makes it easier to stay on track and measure your progress. Finally, I want to get to action. This involves taking consideration of the first two steps that we just talked about, awareness and intention. You've got to be deliberate about how you spend your money and ensure that your spending aligns with your goals and the money stories that you want to take forward or make moving forward. Before making a purchase, you can ask yourself if it brings you closer to your goals. I always like asking, does that serve me? Um, or is it just a temporary satisfaction? Because our brains want those dopamine hits, and we need to find them elsewhere. Our brains are wired to want the easiest, most satisfying thing, and we have to intentionally steer it in a different direction. So for action, your actionable step here is to implement practices like the 24-hour rule. So that looks like waiting 24 hours before making a decision on buying something that's not a necessity. Often you'll find that the urge or impulse to buy actually passes, and you end up saving that money. The last thing that I kind of want to leave you with action is that I want you to learn a little bit about yourself and ask yourself whether you can create accountability for yourself. If you are the type of person who says, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but there's never any follow through, I want you to ask yourself why. Is this an area where you may need help to step out of your comfort zone? And help can look like asking for accountability or telling your goals to your friends or your family, but it can also look like reaching out to a professional. So, in conclusion, to sum up managing your money to reach your financial goals, whatever they are for you, and reach your passions, we are building awareness and creating intention and taking action. By implementing these steps, you can begin to gain control of your finances and create a path towards the life you truly want. So thank you for giving me some time today to talk about this. If you have any further questions, you can ask them. I think we have a little bit more time maybe, but it's also a personal topic. And so feel free to reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. My business is Life Changes by You. I'm also on Facebook, but that's it's under the business, but also me, Amanda Jacob. And I also have a guide, if you would like, for 10 simple steps to make your paycheck go further without sacrificing your lifestyle. So you can get that from me too, if you'd like.
Does anyone have any questions for Amanda?
Doreen?
Yes.
Is
Amanda, do you
if
take your, sorry, do you take your knowledge and share it in schools and universities,
I would
colleges?
love to. Yes. So I
That's
haven't yet. I've been doing my coaching for it's been 4 or 5 years now, but I did it part-time, very part-time. I'm a nurse also. Uh,
okay.
and so this last year has been my first full-time year. But spreading that message to kids and younger generations is so important to me. So it is part of the future goals. Yes.
Thank you.
Amanda, is
Yeah.
there truth about a digital dollar coming?
Well, I
Oh,
like your message. I just wish someone had talked to me about it years ago when I was much younger, and I would have done a better job than I did. But
thank
thank you, and I'm glad you're sharing that with more individuals because I think it's the one lesson we don't get in school, and
Absolutely.
it's so desperately needed. So thank you.
Thank you. And I do always like to say, Dr. Luanda, that it's never too late either. We think, so many things about, oh, you've got to start, you've got to start early, start in your 20s. And how defeating is that for people who are in their 40s or 50s or 60s? And so I always like to say, especially that learning contentment, we think that, retirement takes decades or it has to look a certain way. And I think so often, even for me, my husband, like I had to when I was like, hey, we can retire in our 40s, which was about 12 years after we started um, implementing our plan, because it's just a number. He was like, how are we going to get a yacht in 12 years? And I was like, is that really, you don't even want to buy a boat, but we're going to retire on a yacht. So it's like, it's taking those unrealistic expectations that society creates and creating our own reality. Like, what does retirement actually look like for most of us? Most of us want to take a breath and relax and not do a darn thing. And so
Mhm.
that's not what we think about though. And I did see, Ray, you had said something.
Is there a digital dollar coming?
Digital dollar. Oh gosh. So I'm a proponent of everybody's system is their own, but I do think that society pushes a lot of agendas, right? I don't keep up on a lot of the what's going on because we can keep moving forward, but a lot of people are getting left behind. So whether there's a digital dollar coming, I mean, look at how far we've come in the last 100 years. I'm sure that there is something in our future, right?
Okay.
But let's try to bring as many people with us as we can along the way. And so I'm not worried about that. Granted, when I show up to certain venues and you can't use my cash because I'm a cash gal, that, there's always the backup. I bring the debit card or the credit card, but there is a shift, and what that looks like moving forward, who knows? But absolutely, I'm sure that's in our future. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, if there's no other questions or comments, thanks, Amanda, and we'll move on to our next speaker. All right, so up next we have Ernesto Verdugo, sorry, and he is the 247th most traveled person globally. He brings a wealth of diverse experiences from roles in Renaissance Cruises and KLM Dutch Royal Airlines to his current role as a sought-after speaker and trainer. With exposure to over 120 nationalities in 57 countries, Ernesto's global outlook enriches his work, fostering a profound understanding of cultural nuances. Functioning as a change catalyst, Ernesto sparks rapid and effective transformational shifts. His engaging speaking style prompts audiences to challenge norms and adopt fresh perspectives, driving them towards action. With a knack for identifying emerging trends, Ernesto empowers individuals and organizations to navigate the ever-evolving landscape. Leveraging over 2 decades of experience, Ernesto's methodology focuses on changing belief systems to instigate lasting change. Evident in his multifaceted pursuits from coaching baseball to mastering the art of juggling. All right, Ernesto, it's all yours.
Oh, thank you, Brian, very much. Let me just share here my screen. And can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, well, I didn't really know how to call this presentation. Either it is want to get hired as a speaker, here's what event planners are looking for, or I had another title, which is ever wonder why some speakers get hired again and again. So what I'm going to be showing you is exactly what you need to get hired to speak. A couple of days ago, I saw this line on the Event Planners Journal. It says presentation skills, on-stage performance, or even eloquence are no longer the most sought after qualities by event planners today. The best stages are now reserved for individuals with a strong digital presence. Trust, credibility have become the top priorities for event planners and decision makers. And let me tell you why this is happening. Right now in the AI-driven world, trust is the currency that matters most. So what you need? Instant credibility is your ultimate competitive edge. I got a question for you. What's the word with most opposites in the English language? And surprising enough, it's actually trust. Just think about how many words are actually opposites. Distrust, mistrust, distrustfulness, dubiousness, mistrustfulness, skepticism. There's no other word in the English language that has so many opposites like the word trust. So here's the challenge. When AI can dress amateurs in the robes of experts like it is happening right now, how do you gauge who's genuinely skilled and who's merely a charlatan in disguise? In his best-selling book, The Speed of Trust, Stephen M. R. Covey says that the trust equation goes into if trust is low, the speed of hiring is low and the cost is high. However, when the trust is high, the speed of hiring is high and the cost is low. One of the things that I want you to tell you before I go into all this information, because it's going to really blow your mind, I want to give you a little bit of a rundown of what I have done. So as Brian was mentioning, yes, I worked for KLM Royal Dutch Airlines in 1996. I've been speaking since 1997. There you see me with my first mentor, Dottie Walters, which was basically the person that completely got me into speaking. She's the author. She's not with us anymore. She wrote the book Speak and Grow Rich. She told me in those days, in the 90s, that actually I needed a demo reel and I needed a 1-page, and I was actually sending all these different videos and my demo page and whatever. And right now, I mean, it's been already over 30 something years that I have been doing this. I have shared the stage with a number of top-notch speakers. I've spoken in 65 countries and organized events. And this is the important part. I've organized events in 12 countries. So I know exactly what it requires to actually get speakers to get hired. So let me just give you a quick important disclaimer. I've significantly reduced my my days on the road. I used to be up to 305 days on the road to 32 annually. I am shifting my focus from constant speaking to teaching others my strategy. So now I selectively choose my speaking engagements, with 95% of them inviting me to speak. Now my journey has evolved from seeking opportunities to being sought after. So what I want you to do is I want you to go into the mind of an event planner. Because if you understand how event planners think, you're going to be hired to speak. So one of the things that you need to understand is that event planners hate taking risks. Event planners, in many cases, are not the decision makers. That's very important that you take into consideration. And third, the speaker selection process has changed dramatically since the pandemic. Why? Because, of course, there are less events than before the pandemic. And, of course, they have now an upper hand. So one of the things that you need to know is that all these event planners are going to research you like if there's no tomorrow. Nearly 99% of the speakers' decision, 99% of the decision to hire a speaker hinges on what they will find to you online. So I love this quote that says, in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death, taxes, and the fact that you will be Googled. So getting gigs as a speaker isn't just about how well you perform on stage. It is about safeguarding their reputation. The event planner is not thinking about you as a speaker, is thinking of themselves and guarding their own reputation. So these event planners have a tough job putting together an event, and they want to make sure that you're the right fit and that you are going to be putting their worries to rest. Why? Because their careers depend on it. So what is the most important concern for an event planner during a speaker hiring process? Will this speaker enhance or undermine my reputation? How are they going to find out? Well, rest assured that they are going to Google you. When they Google you, the first thing that they're going to be looking for is how many pictures of you can they find online. That is because, of course, they want to make sure that you have a strong digital footprint. If you don't have a strong digital footprint, that is already a warning sign for them. Also, they're going to be checking how many results are there about you. Do you have a digital bio? Do you have raving reviews? Do you have videos? How many results are of people talking about you? Many of them are going to try to figure out if you're actually a Google entity. What is a Google entity? A Google entity is this thing that you will see here. Basically, that is a knowledge panel. This means that you need to be, that they know that you are really the right person. Most of them, what they're going to do is they're going to go through your LinkedIn profile. Many will actually check your YouTube channel to see if your videos are being watched. If you have a YouTube channel with videos that have 10 views, 15 views, 20 views, and that's it, that's already also another warning sign. They are going to see if you have actually a decision maker centric portfolio. Why is this important? Because most speakers have a website that it's B2C oriented, not B2B oriented. Remember, if you have a website, a speaker website, where you are actually talking to your client is not the one which is going to hire you. The one which is going to hire you is the event planner. So in most cases, you need two websites. So that's another of the things that they're going to be checking. In your website, if you have stock footage, that of course is going to give away that you are an amateur. they're going to be checking if you have third-party verification. Is there any magazine, any news, any outlet, basically, that is actually verifying that you're the right person? So basically, what they are looking for, it's overwhelming evidence, not substance, that you are, or you could be a headliner. In reality, the easier you make it for an event planner to sell you to the decision makers, the more successful you will be as a speaker. Bear in mind, 93% of all speakers market themselves like this. They have a one sheet. A one sheet has not worked for the past 10 years. Yet many people that actually teach speaking, they tell you that you have to create a one sheet. Who cares about one sheet if you have right now Google? But people are still doing it like this. The big problem is that those one sheets have 100% substance and 0% evidence. You say, well, you know, I am great in speaking. I am great in doing this, great in doing that. Nobody cares how great you are. All they need is evidence. And why is this so important for them? Because perception is real, even when it is not the reality. So you could be a very good speaker. However, if you do not have all the evidence, you're not going to get hired. Why? Because event planners hire headliners, not speakers. So the big question that you might be having yourself right now, it's how could you become a headliner? Well, first of all, let me just give you exactly the way that you're going to do it. Headliners avoid auditions. Put it down, write it down. Headliners avoid auditions. Auditions are as good as throwing your name into a hat. Now, how does an audition work in the speaking industry? Well, let me show you. If you, for example, see or search for call for speakers, which right now, if you Google call for speakers, there's going to be thousands of calls for speakers. If you actually fill up the form and send your one sheet and whatever, you're actually getting yourself on an audition. Now, if you, for example, you want to get speaking opportunities and you have a one sheet and then you send that to your prospective people which are going to hire you, nobody's going to hire you. Once again, nobody is hiring you from a one sheet. So I know that this might sound a little bit shocking. So what I want to do, and this is the gift that I want to provide you, is I want to give you a free speaker marketing assessment call so that I can actually help you get hired to speak. Again, I have hired about 500 speakers, taking them to a number of different countries. So during this call, what I'm going to do with you, once again, there's no cost for it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to evaluate your unique value proposition. Most speakers have no idea what is their their unique value proposition. I'm going to help you make sure that your message resonates with your target audience. I'm going to assess your website effectiveness in attracting event planners. I'm going to tell you how to boost your online presence so that you have actually better visibility. In fact, I mean, just Google me and you're going to see the strong online presence that I have. I'm going to give you an in-depth analysis of your LinkedIn profile because, of course, that's another big thing that event planners are looking for. I'm going to help you enhance your professional image across all the social media platforms. I'm going to help you identify the blind spots from an event planner's viewpoint. Now, I'm offering this because 20 minutes, in order for me to cover this, it's actually very little. So I'm just going to do it one-on-one. I am helping you getting that done. I'm going to help you improve in the areas to increase the appeal for event organizers. I'm going to help you with a personal marketing strategy, and I'm going to quadruple your chances of getting hired. Now, why am I doing this? Because I am looking for speakers. That's why. So if I actually get to talk to more speakers, then it will be great because I can actually see if I can actually get some of those speakers. Now, this is 100% for free. The only problem is I am fully booked for the next 2 weeks. I am right now really going all over the place doing several presentations. So my agenda is completely full until the beginning of July. So if you would like me to help you, please go to bettercallernie.com and make an appointment with me. You're not going to find any spots. My agenda is completely full until the beginning of July. Make an appointment because it's going to start getting even fuller. And I tell you, those 40 minutes that we're going to be spending together are going to change your speaking career. And with that, I'm telling you, Brian, I am ready with my presentation. I hope that you guys are excited, and I will be very glad to help you. Once again, just go to bettercallernie.com, make an appointment with me in a couple of weeks, and then we will have a conversation, and I will help you. I will help you with your speaking. Yeah.
Does
So-
anyone have any questions for Ernesto or Ernie? I guess we can call you Ernie.
Yeah.
If no one has a question, I have one.
Tell me, Brian.
Okay, so Ernesto, or Ernie,
Yeah.
if a brand new speaker comes to you, they're just getting started.
Yeah.
How long should they expect or to take to like build the evidence that you're talking about to
Well,
start being pursued as a speaker?
Well, it depends. It really depends. What happens is that there's some speakers that really have no evidence. So one of the things that we need to do is we have to manufacture that evidence. Now, manufacturing, that doesn't mean that we're going to lie and we're going to say things that are not, because every person before they became a speaker, they have the evidence, but they have never put it together. So what we need to do is, you have to tell me what you have done in the past, what is the things that we can actually put there so that you can become interesting in how you're going to be positioning yourself as a speaker. So, but the average could be between six to 8 months. That's more or less the average. If you're starting from scratch, that's more or less how long it's going to take you.
All right. But that's with you and your coaching.
Well, I mean, I can tell them. I mean, I can tell them exactly what it is. The truth is, there's stuff all over the place where you can figure it out, but you need to actually get the pointing, the pointing exactly on what to do. So, I mean, if they do it by themselves, they can do it, and I tell them exactly how to do it. I don't have any issues telling people, well, this is what it doesn't work. This is what you have to do. Question is, well, how do I do it? And that's what I actually help people on. But even if they don't work with me, just by simply, having this conversation with me and me pointing out what are the things that they can improve on, they're definitely going to be getting a ton of value.
All right, very good. Anyone else?
Does what you're talking about apply to like virtual speaking? Because there seems to be a lot of that going around.
Does this apply to virtual speaking also?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I mean, the virtual speaking is it's part of speaking. I mean, right now, for example, one of the things that most virtual speakers have no idea is how to actually really use tools like Zoom into presenting themselves. I mean, you can see it. I mean, you have to make sure that you know how to present yourself also here. I mean, I've seen some speakers that they, for example, are talking like this, or they have the camera completely wrong, or they're using really strange logos. I mean, Lawan, I know you already for a while. For example, one of the things that I can tell you is definitely that background that you have, it's not helping you in any way, shape, or form. That actually affects you as a speaker. I mean, I'm telling you kindly because I know that is something that is going to be serving you. So if you're doing a lot of events and you're actually having these kind of backgrounds, that actually doesn't look good. So make sure that you're actually having a plain background, something which is not. Make sure that you are more or less like Brian or I am myself, or you need to be at this level. Make sure that you have good light. Those kind of things are also very, very important, and many people are not aware. So it's a complete different environment. It's something that is called stagecraft, and that is also something which is now very, very important in speaking. But yeah, I mean, your digital footprint is also very important, even for digital presentations.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No one else? All
Hi.
right. Oh, is there some there?
Yes. Uh, I have a question regarding the how to build your like for example a portfolio, something like that. How to start?
How to start?
Yes, yes. Since as a beginner,
As a beginner? Well,
like a day.
one of the things that you need to do is you need to see some websites. You can need to see some portfolios of speakers which are getting hired. I mean, I can recommend you, for example. I mean, there's number of them, but you can see mine. I mean, if you can go to bookernesto.com, you can see all the elements. That platform, that portfolio is actually presented exactly, sharing every single thing that an event planner wants to see on a website. So what happens is, even before I arrive or even before I talk to them, I avoid the audition. All they need to see is they see my portfolio, and they say, oh my goodness, this guy is definitely somebody that I want to have on my stage. So you need to learn. If you're really getting started, you need to learn what is required. If that makes sense.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, if there are no other questions, we will thank Ernesto for being with us today and speaking.
Thank you, Brian.
All right.
We'll talk later, Brian. We have a call pending.
Yes. Okay.
We'll talk
Thank
soon.
you.
Take care, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right. Our next speaker is Ray Camo. And Ray is an award-winning best-selling author known for What Bad We Do. As an educational coordinator of a reentry ministry, Ray is dedicated to transforming lives through education and support for individuals reintegrating into society. Their impactful work and literary contributions continue to inspire and uplift communities. All right, so Ray, the virtual stage is yours. I think you're still muted.
Back in the
There you go.
Okay. Back in the 70s and the 80s, we had Playboy magazine. Then along the Playmate of the Year, that's how we were introduced into certain pictures. Then VHS tapes came, and we had adult entertainment centers. We had where a lot of houses, the older houses in the cities became these places of, everywhere very quiet, but you went in there to watch videos. Okay, and these were porn. This was the beginning of the porn videos as far as the market goes. Then came the internet, and pornography has never looked back. Today, pornography is an epidemic. They call it the new drug. There are roughly 30 to 35 million addicts in the United States alone. They reach everybody that's online. Okay, we try to educate our kids to not to go on certain places, but they're there. 8 80% of 8-year-olds have seen porn videos. You can say the 6-year-olds, they get 10, the 12, but they bring out the 8-year-olds, that 80% of them. When I started doing my research on this, I went to TEDx, I went to YouTube. All of them talked about the porn industry, what's happening, the actors and actresses that are in the videos. Some of these videos that I watched were 5, 8, 10 years old. Few were kind of more recently. I realized when I was writing my book, What Bad We Do, I have 34 problems in my book. I call them problems, not chapters, they're problems. One of them is pornography. When I was writing the book, I was given 2 callings, okay, to start my career in writing. The first one came 2010. I was going to buy something that I was, when you think about buying something and you say, well, I need a sign. God, please give me a sign whether I should, you go ahead with this, you go ahead with that about buying it. And I needed to make a phone call at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. 4:28, okay, sitting at my desk, the flash just came in front of me. Believe in me. I had the rush of the air. It's a rush. You see this and you go, nah, what did I say? I was looking at it, and you felt it. You felt the feeling. It was there. And I said, no, so for the 5, you thought it was an hour, a couple of minutes went by, and I said, you know what? That was it. I saw it. It was unbelievable. You can't deny it, that I saw it. So I thanked God for that. I enjoyed knowing that now you go from a mental feeling, a belief that he's around. Now I had a mental and physical belief that he was around. 5 years later, I'm retiring from my cleaning business. I had a cleaning business, house and office, for 34 years. The last day, Friday, I was leaving on Monday, and I'm talking to one of my customers I was cleaning for 18 years, Pete. And I told him the story. I mentioned the story to him. And he said, Ray, what did you do about it? I said, Pete, what do you mean? He says, Ray, you were given a gift. People, it was like an awakening. I'm sorry. It was an awakening. It was a slap on the face. I said, oh my God, Pete, you're right. My mind started going so fast. This was 4 o'clock in the afternoon about. And I went, Pete, thank you. I was going to see him again. I'd go back and forth. But I was going home and I was getting packed. And the next day I woke up with What Bad We Do. The next day. And write a book. I never wrote a word, a printed word. At the age of 50, I found out I have ADHD. You have no idea. I was listening to a radio in the car, and they said, if you have 6 of these 8 things, you have ADD. And I listened, I said, I thought I almost 8 of them. And I pulled over, I cried for an hour. All the relationships, the jobs, you're 50 years old and you find out. And I said, my God, what's happened? So here I am getting this calling to write a book. 3 weeks later, I needed to have a website, okay? And I said, I knew nothing about a website. And I said, within the first few days, OurSoulsDirection.com. That's been it. I still have it today. And a lot of people, what that has to do? I started writing the book, The 34 Problems We're All Guilty of, most of us, okay? Lying, swearing, bullying, sexual abuse, all of them, adultery, anti-Semitism, racism, everything, and pornography. And the book was there to remind us, okay, to what we've done. A lot of people, there's bad things that people have done, and they go through and they forget about them, okay? They don't, some live with it, just forget about it. You go through life, but if you did something real bad, you're remembering. The guys I talked to that have been in prison, they go through life in and out, back and forth. The one thing, 90% of them that triggered them to stay out was God came and talked to them. That was, it said, God, Ray, John, you got to change your ways. One gentleman had his son killed while he was in jail. Okay. John. And he was there for 20 years. Okay. They came one day and they said, your son's been killed. And he started getting angry. And he said, I got to be put. He said, he went to the warden and said, I got to be, please put me in solitary. He says, I'm going to hurt somebody. I says, I get out in a year. He says, I'm going to hurt somebody. I said, I can't be out in the population. So they put him in solitary. While he was there, okay, he said, God came and talked to him. They said, John, you will forgive those who killed your son. He came out. He lived the rest of the year. He got out and he stayed out and he lived it. So there's the people that have done a lot of bad things that are out there. So my book was to remind them, In the front of my book, also I say, with exception, okay? You can't, a lot of people, I've lost God, I know God's in a bad way, you can come back, okay, and ask forgiveness, okay? I'm not here to judge all the forgivenesses, all the things that people, no, but you can come back and start living a life and ask forgiveness. So that means a lot to people, because I'm going to get into something about this pornography in a couple of minutes. The third thing, and just recently within the last year, before I published my book, a year before, I changed the subtitle and I put the don't ever cross the line. We live in the beginning of our lives, there's a line, okay? All the bad things that I write about are on the other side of that line. Today, that line is like, it's wind. We go back and forth, okay, at ease. Some people want to move the line. I'm not comfortable with this part, with the line here. I'm not comfortable, but the line is the line, okay? You're watching all the movies. I've looked 50,000 movies mentioned, don't ever cross the line, hold the line. We have to learn again, relearn, okay, through, and I talk about it, self-esteem, all right? All the things that we start doing bad, okay, we're drawn across it, okay, we're through anger, through drugs, through a lot of different things. We're drawn across that line and do bad things. Some people want to retire tomorrow, okay? There's a guy that mentions it a lot of time, years ago. If I want to, should I sell hamburgers or sell drugs? He said, I'm not going to work for $10 at McDonald's if I can sell drugs. You know, today, the average drug dealer is responsible for 500 deaths. They just came out with that just recently. And 500. And not to mention the thousands of lives destroyed. All because I don't want to make $10 an hour. I want to do something. I don't care they don't care. They didn't care what they did. So that's why the line, draw the line in the sand. I used to have a line in the sand too, but the line that we should never cross. Pornography is exploding, but all these videos that I watched never mention the kids in the videos. Okay, you go into videos, these porn videos, the farther you go into it, and you stay in it, you go round and around, you go far and I started calling to some people quicksand. It's a perfect example of quicksand, that we get drawn into this tube, this suction, and we go farther down, and you're gonna find kids, 8-year-old, 10-year-old, kids have been in there for a long time, but now it's becoming even worse. But they're 8, 10 years old. Sorry, I need to mention here, because we've been ignoring this for a long time. How'd the 8-year-old get there? They've been trafficked, kidnapped. Parents have sold them to get there. Can you imagine an 8-year-old being subjected to what they're subjected to? Where do they go to school? No, they didn't fail an app. All right, they were, excuse the expression, they were raped. Okay, at that age, it's a constant thing. Again, I have to apologize, but this is what's out there. People will pay more to watch an actual rape. Okay, 8-year-old, 10, 16. It's been going on for a long, but they've got it down to science. What I've done, I've seen this. I started a course. Okay, I started in a few weeks. How to teach people how to stay out of porn. Okay, stop watching it. they're addicted so bad. You know, there's 8, 10, 12-year-olds that have been addicted to porn for over 10 years, 12 years. Daily, daily. Okay. They're so ashamed. The big shame is coming, I think, from watching the kids that are in these. You people left church. They because they're so ashamed, they don't even go back into church. Name of the chorus is stop watching porn, save the children and yourself. I guess my thought is both, more for the kids. Okay, the kids are the pain, but for the adults also. Okay, they got to get out of it. They have to get relationships, marriages, all the things that are being destroyed. They can't get out of it. It's a constant menace to themselves, to their family, to they're around. We got to reach them. I just finished yesterday. I was telling Brian, I put a petition on change.org. Do you know it's the only damn petition on there that mentions pornography? Of all the different things that are on there, I mean, all the different problems that there's nothing there about pornography, changing pornography. Okay, so it's on there. Last night I spoke with the director of the organization I belong to. They have a 501(c)(3). We're going to start a group later this next couple of months. We're going to get it going. Kids United Against Porn. Kids. Can you imagine that 10 years ago that you would say, what? Kids United? What's that? Now it's like, why isn't it they started already? We're so used to, so that is coming. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be finishing a course about going to high schools and colleges about teaching this. That's your big market for the pornography market is young, 16 to 24 years old is like 60% of the market. Do you think when I was that day when I retired, and I was, goodbye. I'm coming to Costa Rica. I live in Costa Rica. My wife is from here. That I was going to start this, and as a minimum, this has been the most rewarding part of my life, and I'm not done. I'm not done. Okay, I turned a week ago, 76 years old. I'm not done. Okay, I was on 4 Toastmasters on the internet, and I won them. And they said, Ray, you didn't win it because how you do things, but you win it because you're passionate. You got to have passion when you're doing something. Whatever you're doing, okay, have passion. That's what I have. I hope you have it. It's a lot. It's meant a lot to me. It's going forward. I'm going to do a second book, Why We Do the Bad We Do. One of the biggest reasons why, excuses. We can live an excuse until we actually believe it's fact, okay? You read my book and some of the things that are in there. And I know people are not going to like some of them. I'm re-editing the book, and I kept out one of them. So it's coming. It's here, but whatever you do, have a passion for it. Bring it into your life. Bring God into your life. I try not to, some of you mention God. Oh my God, he's talking about God. They're going to click you off. Well, I'm sorry. 80% of the world believes in the next life. Guess who's got the key? You do. Okay, that soul that you carry around. What you put on the soul is that's how you're going to get in. I'll tell you, there's a lot of guys. You better bring a bathing suit and some tanning lotion because I think you're going to be stopped. So, thank you. I hope I've been enlightening. I'm enlightening. I need to express that very much. Okay, Brian, back to you.
Any questions for Ray? Doreen?
Ray, I do hope you stick around and hear my presentation as well. I'm very, very passionate as well about the youth. But one thing I'd like to encourage you to do is, whether in the book or even in your speaking, is to please seek a solution. As Elliot Connie taught me and others, There's problems in the world, a lot of problems. But what is the solution? Let's work together to find the solution. Okay? So stick around because I want you to hear my presentation as well. Maybe we will be working together for the solution. And I'm glad that you're writing your second book, Why We Do the Bad We Do. And hopefully there will be a solution that will save some children and some adults' lives as well. I truly believe in God, and I have a calling on my life too. I enjoyed your presentation, and I thank you very much.
Just reading the book is the solution. It's nothing in there that says don't do this, don't do that. You got to know first. The first thing is to know. Just read down and say, oh, I'm guilty of this. There's people who are guilty of 1 or 2 things, and there's guilty of 5, 6, 7 things. You got to know. You got to know first. I couldn't put everything in one book. I wish I could have, but you couldn't. I could put everything in one book. Thanks, Doreen.
So Ray, the question I have is,
Yeah, Brian.
what do you plan to do through change.org? I mean, like do you have to get like a certain number of people to sign the petition on change.org? And then once you do, what happens from there? I mean, are you trying to like change some US laws or a state law or what's going to happen after?
It's on there. You have to start promoting. Okay, that was done yesterday. Okay, by tomorrow tonight, I'm on the call, our group call. I start announcing there. We have like 300 or 400 members there. Facebook is going to have it starting by this weekend. You have to start promoting. It's the ball that's need to be pushed down the mountain. You know, the snowball. There's things coming. There's things you can do on change.org to promote it. So it's coming. It's a slow process, but there are people that will get onto it. I will start looking for influencers. Not to buy my book, not just know that there's people like even Doreen, okay, that there's organizations, there's people that are out there, celebrities promoting certain programs, okay. Matthew McConaughey, okay, he's in 20 states teaching self-esteem, okay. It's an ongoing process, okay. It's an ongoing process. Will I do it? Yes, with the help. You need help. We're not in it this alone, okay. We're in this together. You have to ask. Jack Canfield, I spoke with him on interview for TV with Jack Canfield. You have to ask. Okay, so I'm going to ask. I'm going to call him soon. Not ready. Let me get 1,000 people on here. And I can call him, but I'll call him.
Okay, so what should all of us be doing? Like, should all of us go to change.org and we do just do a search? Just do a search with your name or
Yes.
or just under pornography?
I have to. The title that is actually chosen: "End Child Exploitation and Pornography: A Universal Demand to Protect Innocence." So, end child exploitation is the beginning of it, and my name, it's there.
Okay.
Thanks for asking, Brian.
You bet. Anyone else? Any other questions for Ray? Okay, well, thank you, Ray, and we will move on to our next speaker. Okay, so our next speaker is Paul Fink, the Maverick Millionaire, and he is one of the foremost authorities in business and personal development today. In his over 3 decades of sales, marketing, and entrepreneurial experience, Paul has moved over $20 million in estate transactions, sold over 30 million in informational products, and ran over 250 live events. He has worked with some of the best known speakers in the world to take their events to the next level and coached entrepreneurs and small business owners from around the world to build their businesses and create an abundant future for them all. When you desire a real difference in your personal or financial world, crave a strategic game plan, or looking to build a great team and maximize your income dramatically, in the next 12 months, Paul Fink is the Maverick for you. So Paul Fink, the Maverick Millionaire, it's all yours.
Hello, Brian, and everyone else that's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to be here. I've been actively on the stages for PSA for, I think it's been 10 years now, which I predate Brian. So it's definitely one of my great communities that I tap into that has given me so much over the years. So really happy to be able to give back and to be here for everybody. One of the key components that in speaking, coaching, training, and one of the biggest challenges that people have is monetization. Ray was just talking about getting the word out, getting the name out there, getting some buzz factor moving, and top of that, the next step of that is, and I've seen people do this, is where they have a ton of people driving to their doorstep, if you will, and they still struggle. They still don't have the ability to put two nickels together, if you will. And, I'm a firm believer in understanding the psychology of process. My background's in clinical psychology. It's where I started. I went on and studied neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy and really understanding the human condition. And then we get into the speaker world, and there's so many people that are great coaches, and they're leading with their heart and their emotions and helping people. There's also this business side that we've got to pay attention to, because the dollars still make everything move forward. The dollars still, and especially in our society, create the magic where we can help more people, where we can bring our message out there, and we can make more happen based on our focus, our purpose, our causes, and create more. So the real question is how? What is this whole concept of monetization, of business structures and systems, of pricing? And so one of the things I want to bring to the table is some of the psychology of pricing in our matrix here. And it's something that I find doesn't get talked about enough. Most people get into coaching, speaking, training world, and they're told, man, just give out enough stuff. Just give out enough stuff. Give out enough stuff free and watch what happens. Everybody's going to come running to your doorstep. The challenge is that most people start out that way. Only few people gravitate to the next level. They're not taught how to actually create an exchange of value. An exchange of value where I'm giving something to you and you're giving something back to me. That's how every business survives and thrives, is with this exchange of value. What does that look like? It means that I'm giving out product and service and you're giving me money. And as basic as that is. So then the question is, are my products and services that I'm giving out creating the exchange of value where I'm receiving enough money, enough actual cash value to not only pay for the core bills, but then to actually have any sort of lifestyle or freedom in my life to continue the business? And that's where some of the challenge comes in, is people get just enough. They get an equal exchange of value, but it's not really. Because here's what happens. People pay you if you're struggling. What's happening is people are paying you less than your value, or based on your core costs, not based on your perceived value. And so the value that you're giving into their life is much greater than the value of what they're paying you. And that's where most people end up. That's where the struggle comes in. So one is, we've got to understand what the value is of what we're delivering, and create a price tag that is equivalent or greater than that. And there's a couple things that I'll share with you in some understanding techniques and values. And I'm actually going to share my screen. And I've got just another few moments. So I'm going to run through some things really quickly and then offer up for you to be able to talk with me and have a additional conversation with me. So if you want a consult, if you could put into, actually, I'll put it in the chat right now. And so the psychology of pricing, the maverickuniverse.com, you'll see that there. And that'll bring you to be able to download this PowerPoint that I'm going to bring up in just a moment. And so you'll get this for you to be able to peruse and take a look at in more detail, as well as to be able to get a consult with me so that we can spend a little time together and talk about how this applies into your life. So let me make sure I've got the right presentation here. And I'm going to whiz through some things real quickly. Is pricing important? Of course it is. Your revenue, your branding, your growth, your scalability, everything boils down to how you have this exchange of value. It affects how you're going to sell, how much you're going to sell, where you sell. And I've been doing this, by the way, I've been an entrepreneur for over 38 years now. I've owned multiple different distribution companies, real estate investor for 22 years, over 200 speaking and training now for 18 years. Beautiful wife is my love of my life. She's been with me we started dating 36 years ago. I've got 6 children, 3 sets of twins, which is a whole nother level on why I do what I do. It started off because, man, I was propelled to create more in my life. And that's what so much of my motivation and hanging out with some great people and spending time all around the world to create more. Let me get to the heart of it. Charm pricing. Understand that the attraction factor of pricing is important. And so, is there a difference between $3 and $2.99 or $2.99 versus $3? Is there a difference between $7.95 versus $7.97? Yes, there is. And some of the charm pricing, 9, 5, and 7 are actually key numbers to end all of your pricing with. One of the key components, without going into all the details, and there's a real science behind all this, only recognize that if you go into a Walmart, you go into Target, you go into Costco, and you look at all their pricing and it's not ending in 00, maybe, just maybe there's a reason. So all the science, all the psychology, all the studies have been proven, and the big boys play in this arena. Play in the big boy arena, stop ending all your pricing in 00, utilize the science of using a 9, a 5, or a 7 to create more in your sales process. It's actually perceived tremendously less than 1 cent to go $2.99 versus $3. Anchor pricing is really key. This is what I love in pricing. Anchor pricing means that whatever price you start with, whatever price you present, that's the price that people are going to judge everything else by. You want perceived pricing? Perceived pricing means if I say my product, whatever product it is, my product, it's worth $5,000 or $4,975. Only today and today only over the next hour, because I love you, because there's so many, and there's always a because, I can give it to you for $2,497. Who here is in? Anchor pricing is the first pricing I mentioned, and you're judging how big a deal it is based on the first price I mentioned, which was the $5,000 price tag. If I had mentioned, well, normally I sell it for 1,000, but today you can get it for $24.97. You might have a different perception about that price of $24.97. So for all your presentations, all your websites, every place that you print out pricing of any sort, have an anchor price that everything else gets compared to. Package pricing, absolutely. Anybody that's still charging by the hour, I want you to scrap it now. Find a way so that you're not exchanging time for money. Package pricing is some of the answer to that. Decoy pricing, less attractive options makes other options look better. So you can go too high or too little with decoy pricing. And what that means is that you can have something, and what in the speaker world, we've done this a ton, is create programs that are way over the top. Listen, I've got clients that are paying me $100,000. They work with me exclusively, and we change their world to create millions. For some of you, that may be a little over the top. So today I've got a special program just for you for $9,997. The decoy was the $100,000 pricing. So it was way over the top. And so something that thus it's not attractive, something that's more within your scope, you'll jump at that more readily because of the decoy. Prestige pricing, price that dictates value. One of the key components in pricing, and I'm running through these things really quickly to get some of your brain stimulated. What I would recommend is that you go to the link that we put into the chat and you absolutely go and take advantage of what I have for you in a one-on-one. And we'll talk more in detail about this one-on-one time and what we can do. Price dictates value. $5,000. Well, a Rolls Royce usually costs $300,000 to $500,000. If I say it's $5,000, I've got my Rolls Royce parked out back. Would you go and grab, oh man, that's a great deal? Or would you go, wait a second. It's got no engine, right? It's a toy Rolls Royce. What's the deal? You would be dubious about it because the price and what you would perceive the value of the product to be don't match. Oftentimes, you are pricing yourself out of the marketplace. You are pricing yourself so low, thinking, well, if I want more customers, let me give a low price and they'll run to me. No, they'll distrust you because they don't believe that you can deliver what you're offering at that price. And so they'll run from you rather than run towards you, even as you discount your price more and more. So be aware. Bundle pricing, sell in baskets rather than a la carte. Sell a grouping of products together, you'll do better. Buy one, get one. There's another way of increasing your value, your volume of sales, increasing the perception of value, and another tactic of bundling. Penetration pricing, this is where you go really low to attract the lead and then you upsell them into other products. Valued pricing, value created versus cost of goods sold. Oftentimes, and I hear contractors do this often, they'll do price plus. So whatever it's going to cost plus a certain amount of percentage upsell or increase in the price. And they're always going by cost of goods. Price your products according to what value you bring to the other person's life. That will create more for you and more for them. And there's some science around that we can go into in the call. Tiered pricing, magic of three, top down versus bottom up also is an equation of this. Tiered pricing. I've got one price that's $1,000, another price that's $3,000, another price that's $5,000, and you can tier your pricing. And there's some science around how to do that in the coaching world. That's highly recommended. in the speaker world to have multiple different programs that are tiered. The science of how to put that together, I would love to talk to you further. And founder pricing. Almost every program that I've come up with and that I would recommend for you to come up with as you launch it, actually have founder pricing with a anchor price mentioned. Well, our normal price is going to be $10,000, but today and over the next 30 days, we're going to be cultivating our beta pricing, our founder list. And so if you want to be a founding member today, it'll be $2,000. And you can do components to really build up a quick list to create some attraction factor. It's that intro pricing. A couple of people that I've helped with their coaching. Demi's been with me for the last couple of years, and she has developed from zero, scratch that, almost less than zero in building up a coaching business to create an initial product of 5,000. We then built it to 7,000, then to 12,000, and it kept going. And now she's got her program at $25,000. She has created over $500,000 in the last couple of years, and is at that level on an annual basis in income. Jen Duplessis is another one. Over the first couple months of working with her, we created over $70,000 in her coaching business in new streams of income, and over $200,000 in the last 7 months. Been also developing. We've got openings now for our publishing of our book. I've been in magazines. I've got my podcast, movies coming out. We also have a great tech division if you're interested in knowing how to promote your products and services, how to promote yourself and have a really understanding technology and in building funnels and websites. We also have a tech division that are focused on that. Have a nonprofit and my live events all around the country. And I'm going to flip through a couple things because I want to get to the last. Oh. And there is it here. Oh, I thought we had it in here. There we go. This is maverickgift.com. If you go to maverickgift.com, you'll be able to grab hold of get hold of what I put in the chat. The link is also in the chat. So go ahead and do that. If everyone's got access to the chat, that would be great. And I'm going to unshare. Did a whole lot in a short period of time. Guys, absolute pleasure. Paul Fink, the Maverick Millionaire. You want to monetize, you want to increase your scope of what you're doing, you want to expand everything that you're doing in your speaking, coaching, business world. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a chat. Let's spend a little time together. How we doing, Brian?
We're doing good. We have like a minute and a half. If
Beautiful.
anyone has a question.
Hi,
Doreen, go
Paul.
ahead.
I've heard you speak a few times and I truly appreciate your presentation. I'm just wondering, with all this running for the money or making the money and teaching others how to make the money, do you volunteer, like with 6 children that you raised, happy life, happy wife? Do you have time to volunteer to help others that are in need? And what do you volunteer doing?
Yes. And one of the things that's counterintuitive is that because I know how to charge my value, because I've built up multiple different businesses that have both passive and active incomes, I've got more time, not less. And that's one of the things that most people struggle with when they first get started is they're like, oh, well, I want to give back. Yeah, but you have no time to give back. You're barely surviving yourself. There's the old adage, put the mask on yourself and then you can, when the plane's going down, put the oxygen mask on yourself and then you can actually help others. So yes, and I've got a nonprofit, and we're focused on educating children in all that I do in both mindset work as well as in business structures and systems. In helping our high school and junior high level is where we're at now. We just started this nonprofit about a year ago, and creating some magic in that training for all the people that don't have access to this and don't have parents like my children have had, in helping them develop great lives. And so that's one of my dedications. And I got to tell you, we scholarship programs regularly. All I want to say every month, only I look to be completely accurate. Almost every month, we end up scholarshiping people into our programs to help them out. Because I find people that are right at that brink, and I'm there to support no matter what. So in a lot of different ways, both hands-on within the company as well as externally with children, are some of my biggest passions.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Yeah, monetization and money, the focus of that creates that freedom. And that's something, that's a message that is not talked about enough. And so many people look at, oh man, the people that don't have, all too often, they look at anyone that's created money, and anyone that's created money has had a focus on creating money. Things just don't happen in your life, or they will lose it. It's one of the biggest things. Anybody that wins the lottery, the stats are most people are bankrupt within 3 to 5 years, because they never learned how to manage it. They never learned how to really accept money into their life, and so they lose it very readily. Anybody that's got money has learned to cultivate it, has learned to be a steward of it. But that then gives you the freedom to be able to give it and to share it freely, and gives you the power to be able to move within your realm. My wife and my family, with my children, we travel nonstop. It's what we've been able to develop. And with that, all my children now that are adults, my youngest is 22, my oldest is 28. So between 22 and 28 years old, there's 6 of them. They're all influencers in their marketplace. They're all leaders. And so, that alone, one of my best testimonials is my children, is we build this understanding of stepping up and helping our society, stepping up and being a leader for the world, which is so in need of that right now.
All right. Sorry, Paul. We actually went longer than I wanted to. So
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys.
We gotta move on.
Share the link. Let me know if anybody needs anything, and I'm here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. Okay. Our next speaker is Luana Parker, and she is a dynamic and versatile host in digital media, known for her engaging presence and remarkable achievements. Her journey began with the prestigious PSA monthly session, where she honed her skills under Jason's guidance. And I'll add that Jason is my predecessor. Luana expanded into podcast and internet TV, captivating audiences with insightful content and unique storytelling. She currently hosts Conversations with Luana, a popular live show on TikTok, fostering meaningful conversations and a sense of community. Join Luana as she brings her charisma and experience to every platform, leaving a lasting impact on her audience. All right, Luana. Welcome.
Thank you, Brian. I certainly hope I live up to that. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here to speak, and I am so grateful that you accepted me to speak this morning. Before I get started, though, I would like to share a little bit about myself so you can understand some of where I came from. Believe it or not, there actually was a time when I was extremely quiet and extremely shy and just afraid to say anything, to express myself in any kind of way. I just kept to myself. It was like I was invisible because nobody really knew I was around. I mean, how could they? I didn't do or say anything. I actually felt at some point in my life that I didn't belong. And like I was this imposter who was just here taking up space. And I can remember sitting at meetings and gatherings and wanting to speak up, but holding back because I feared my voice didn't really matter, that nobody cared what I had to say. So I just keep to myself and sit there, absorb what I was listening to. But beyond that, that was it. And I have to tell you, this feeling was not a good enough reason to hold me back. So my things, I thank God for mentors and coaches, especially mentors who see things in you that you fail to see. The first mentor I had saw all of these dreams that I had, and she encouraged me. And she would say, Luana, I'm here. No matter what happens, I'm here for you. I have your back, girl. Don't worry about it. Everybody fails some point in their life. But all I could think about was, yeah, but I don't know if I want to fail. I want to succeed. But I'm so grateful for her because she pushed me. And later, when I joined Toastmasters, I was fortunate enough to have two people who mentored me, who helped me to get out and speak before an audience, which is something that I had always wanted to do. Stand up before a great crowd of people and just say what I thought. Of course, it can't be just what I thought. Got to be a message to it, but that was how I felt. I just wanted to talk in front of people. I went along with my life and I got to a point where things started falling completely apart. And I did not feel good about where I was at. I knew I wanted something more, something better. I had no idea how to do it, how to go about it. And the more I thought about it, the more I got deeper and deeper in depression. It became so bad that I actually sat down and started writing about it because I didn't want to talk to people about it. By now, everybody thought I was this wonderful, brave, confident person. So I couldn't let them know that, no, I wasn't. I was hurting. I need help. But how do I ask for it? So I just started writing about everything that I was feeling. Hey, trust me, it was a lot of ranting and boo-hoo and oh, woe is me stuff was in there. But eventually I got down to actually writing what was bothering me. And that was a start for a change in me. You know, they talk about transformation and they make it sound so easy. But transformation is powerful and it can be a little bit scary because it means that you've got to crack the shell of the things that are in there and you have to expose yourself and be willing to accept change. But why is it crucial? Because we need to know how to navigate our past effectively. It isn't about changing our external circumstances. It's about those things that are inside of us that we need to let go of. We need to recognize them. It's about evolving and becoming the person that we were meant to be and aligning our lives with our true purpose. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. The first step in transformation is recognizing that you need to change. This realization can come from longing for something more, a sense of dissatisfaction with what you have, maybe something traumatic that happens in your life. You have to acknowledge need. You have to acknowledge that there's a problem. And the first thing you need to do is recognize that fear and resistance, they are natural companions. Trust me, they are right there. I wrote in my book fear came knocking on my door. I opened the door and said, "Come on in." It made itself at home and did not want to leave. It was that was horrible time for me. So I'm going to talk about some things that journaling and working on transforming your life can help you in. And I have 5 things that I want to go through. It's self-reflection, setting clear goals, seeking support, accepting change, and practice. Okay. So let's start with self-reflection. You need to take time to understand yourself. Reflect on your values, the things that you're passionate about, what truly makes you happy. And this introspection, it'll help guide you on the journey for your transformation. For me, I had to recognize that I was my own worst enemy. It wasn't what anybody else did or said. It was me, because I listened to what they said. And I didn't just listen, I added on. Somebody said, "Oh, girl, you can't do that. Why you bother wasting your time doing that?" And I would, well, they're right. I really shouldn't, because I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I? No, no, but not going to do it. Don't worry about it. Not meant for me. And so I was my worst enemy in that sense. I had to learn to stop that. And every now and then, it tries to raise its ugly head back up and tell me, "LaWanna, why do you want to go and do that? I mean, really, seriously?" And I have to push it away. The second one is setting clear goals. You need to define what transformation looks like for you. And you do that by setting specific goals that are achievable, that gives you a roadmap, and it helps you to be able to measure your progress. For me, this year, I decided my goal was to speak 4 or more times a month, each month. Yesteryear, I would have said, I want to speak at least 4 times. Now, what's the difference between the two of those? When I say at least, I'm diminishing. It means that, oh, well, if I don't make it, that's okay. But when I say I want to speak 4 or more, I'm saying I am definitely going to meet the minimum requirement of 4, maybe more. I'm happy to say that so far I'm on track, and there have been some months when I have spoken more than 4 times a month. The third one is seeking support. And this is a real toughie, because I used to be surrounded by people who, and I know a lot of them call themselves being well-meaning and trying to keep me from making mistakes and being disappointed. But what they were doing, they were tearing down my dreams, because they weren't supporting me. They would say things like, "Well, LaWanna, that really is a hard, and if you don't want to do it, don't worry about it, just find something else to do." Or, "I don't know why you want to be a speaker. Do you know how difficult that is? How many people out there who are speaking, and you don't measure up to them." I know that some of them thought they were keeping me from being hurt and disappointed, but they were trying to destroy my dream without realizing it. And so I had to start weeding those people out. I had to let go of that. Speaking wasn't my only goal. I'd always wanted to write. And boy, did I hear it about that when people found out I was interested in writing. "Girl, do you have enough knowledge to write a 200-page book? And if you write it, who's going to read it? Seriously?" do you know how long it takes to write a book like that? Girl, please, you're wasting your time. So I had to walk away from that and find groups that I could say what my dream was, and they would be behind me. They would encourage me, not do the work for me, but they would encourage me to go ahead, take that giant leap and do what you want to do. That meant different networking groups, meeting different people in different areas. And as horrible as COVID was or is, it allowed me to meet people I would have never met had we not gone to Zoom. I know people in so many different countries now. I never would have met those people beforehand because I have two problems. I don't fly, and you're not going to get me on no cruise ship. Sorry. Now I can say, hey, I know so-and-so here. I've made friends with this person there. So it helped me being part of these networking groups. It helped me to grow, and it expanded my horizon. Now, the fourth one is embracing change. You know, you got to accept change. And it's so, oh my God, it's so frightening when you think about it, because you get used to doing things a certain way, and you're comfortable with doing it that way because you know, you pretty much know what the outcome is going to be, and you don't have to worry about it. But change means unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. And yes, you might fall flat on your face. You might even get hurt. But you have to do it anyway. If you want to grow, if you want that dream that you have set for yourself, you've got to be willing to accept those changes. You have to be willing to accept the risks that are involved. You have to be willing to say, no matter what, I'm going to keep pushing forward. And that's the walk that I found myself in. In 2018, I decided to do something I hadn't done before. I'm in probably about 10 or 12 book compilations. But that year, I decided I wanted to write my own book. And you know what I did? I took that journal where I had rant and raved about all the hangups and all the things that were happening to me, and why was this going on in my life? And I found the nuggets in there. And I realized I had a book. I could write that problem that I had, not all the rant and raving, but that problem and what I needed to do to change that. So I came up with 5 steps of things I needed to do, and I put it in there. The result was that I had a book. I published my book. But now that fear was still in me, because it took me, I'm going to say about 2 or 3 months before I told anybody I had published the book. And wonder of wonders, when I told them, people came up and asked me, can I buy a copy of your book? Thankfully, I had some with me. I was so surprised. And then 2 people came and said, could you come to my meeting and speak about how you got started writing your book and what it takes and what you did? And I'm thinking, these people know all the time I could speak. Why didn't they ask me before? But now, because I had a book, all of a sudden, I had elevated myself. So think about that. The final one is practice. Step number 5 is practice. Transformation, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that requires patience and perseverance. And you have to celebrate the small victories along the way in order to stay motivated. Whenever I do something that I'm particularly proud of, for me, means I get to buy a new romance story, get me a nice bowl of vanilla ice cream and a hot cup of coffee or chocolate, sit down in front of my TV and start reading my book. That's celebration for me. That is something I look forward to doing because everybody who knows me knows how much I love to read romance stories. So today I've shared with you 5 things: self-reflection, setting clear goals, seeking support, embracing or accepting the changes, and practicing. The rewards of transformation are so profound. You discover you become more authentic, and you empower yourself, and you grow, and people look at you differently. All of a sudden they start paying attention to what you're doing, and they ask you questions, and you discover, oh my God, I knew the answer to that. And it's like overnight. For me, it felt like it was an overnight change, but it wasn't, because for me, it started in 2018. And it's been a rough up and down road to get to where I'm at today. But I wouldn't change it for anything in the world because I've learned so much along the way. So I am going, excuse me, I'm going to encourage you to start your own transformation journey today. Reflect on your life, set clear goals, seek support from others, embrace your changes, and be patient with yourself. Trust that the transformation that you seek is within you already. And remember, you didn't get to that point overnight. It was a buildup of years of negative talk and listening to other people giving you negative information that got you where you are. But if you will trust that excuse me, you'll trust that the transformation you seek is within you. Wow, what a journey. What a journey. So until the next time, please open yourself up and remember to always, always keep the faith. Brian.
Thank you, Luana. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question for you. Do you go into the schools and volunteer and try to build up other people's self-esteem, sharing, your growth and the different opportunities that you've had?
I have done that. In fact, I was working with a group of women who were trying to they're trying to reinvent themselves, so to speak. It was called, I'm trying to remember the name of that shelter, but it was great to go in there once a month because there were 4 of us, and each one of us took a weekend, and we would go in and we would teach classes to them, giving them life skill information. I've done that. I've also worked with youth because Toastmaster had a youth leadership program. I'm telling you, it is fun to work with teenagers and getting them to get up there and speak. And sometimes they are so shy, but when that first time they get up and they open their mouth, what a difference it makes. I worked with young adults as well. I taught personal development before I crash landed here to build myself back up to young women and actually put them in fashion shows and things like that. So yes, I've done a lot of volunteer. I worked with a program called People in Need, where we gave out food every weekend. We went to the supermarkets who gave us day-old food and came back and set it up like a store, and they would come in and select what they needed.
Yeah, thank you. Truly appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. All right. So thanks so much, Dr. Luana, and we're glad that you were here with us sharing. And we will move on to our final speaker now. All right. So our final speaker is Doreen Hillier. In fact, she was just on the screen asking a question. But anyway, I guess I could have just left her on. Doreen is a multifaceted individual whose life story is an inspiration in itself. As an accomplished author and speaker, she possesses the unique ability to motivate and uplift others. Doreen's role as a mother of two and a grandmother of two speaks volumes about her dedication to family and nurturing the next generation. What sets her apart is her exceptional generosity in taking in 45 international students over the years, creating a global family and fostering cultural exchange. Professionally, Doreen is at the helm as the president of TFG Consulting, Contracting and Services Incorporated, where her leadership shines brightly. Her experiences and insights have been featured in a best-selling book titled Unstoppable, and in the pages of the magazine, I Love My Life. With a heart full of compassion, a mind brimming with wisdom, and a track record of success, Doreen Hillier continues to inspire others to live their best lives. All right, Doreen, the time's yours.
Thank you very much, Brian. It's great to be here with all of you, the speakers and the people that are just listening in. I really want to talk about our youth in 2024, because there are so many that are losing hope. There are so many that are getting into trouble. There are so many living on the streets. I really want us to reach out to our youth, through any program that you have, any program that you can develop, any program that you can get involved with. I want to just read a little bit about emotion, because as you say, you're going to do well in whatever you do that you're passionate about. And so let's look at emotion. The energy, the electrochemical signals in our brain that change the chemistry of our cells and create vibrations that influence others. The data, an important message that redirects our attention, our most precious asset, towards our core needs and values. And the motivator, the neurological impulses that prompt actions aligned with each emotional message. I had a girl who was 16 years old that was living with a man, a boy, 16, 17 years old, and they were involved with drugs. They were involved with alcohol. They just was in a lifespan or on a life path that was damaging. The girl had quit school in grade 12. She needed 2 more credits. And I was wondering, how can I influence this girl? How can I help her change her path? And what I did with Daniela is I said, Daniela, first off, I think what we can do, if you're willing, is can you come out of the relationship that you're in that's a toxic relationship? You're very bright. You are very smart. You know, I would like to be able to help you change your life. Well, she was 16 years old. She took my advice. She did get out of that toxic relationship. She came over to my business where I had 250 plus clients, tax accounting clients. And she noticed on the wall different diplomas and certificates and things like that. And she said, I'd like one of those and one of those and one of those. And I was a very shy person too until I joined Toastmasters, and they taught me presentation skills. They gave me the confidence to go on and become a leader. And when she noticed that particular certificate or diploma or an award that I received through Toastmasters, she wanted one of those. And I said, okay, sit down. I'll tell you what to do. First off, you'll go back and you'll finish your grade 12. You only need 2 more credits. Then I want you to go to college for a 2-year business administration program with a focus on accounting, and then I'll hire you in TFG. Well, let me just read a little excerpt from her letter. I have known Doreen for 12 years. She was like a mother, but also a friend, and even to this day still remains a strong influence in my life. When I first met her, I wasn't graduated. I was in a bad relationship. But when I saw how much she had accomplished, now I didn't do it for the awards. I did it because that's who I was. I wanted to give back. I wanted to help. And she says during her employment at this business that she was in, and when that went belly up, she said that she saw me working hard and long hours, and she felt that I was very proud of my accomplishments. I had raised 2 children. My son became a professor. My daughter is a lead aunt at a carrier company. And she wanted to be able to feel successful and good about herself. Beautiful, smart girl. So she said I was beyond impressed with her dedication to Toastmasters, Junior Achievement, and the many other projects she was working so diligently. I wondered if one day, just one day, I would be able to look back on my life and feel proud of my accomplishments. Well, it wasn't long after I talked with Doreen that I decided to make a change. Now this particular girl is married and has a 8-year-old little girl of her own. Great relationship, nice home, working, both of them working, and they're doing very, very well. You know, we can influence individuals going into the schools with junior achievement business programs and teaching them about money, personal finance, how to invest, how to save. Teaching them, we can influence them. Well, this past year, I went and I joined Kiwanis. And the first thing they did was ask me if I would be their service leader program advisor. Here in Leamington, Ontario, I was in Florida at my Florida home for this past year, helping pack lunches for the homeless with the church. Always giving back gave me fulfillment because I knew somebody was being helped. And I said, it's okay to give them food, but what about food for their soul? Let's get the book, The Daily Bread, and let's put it in. Some of them may put it in the garbage, but some of them may read it. Let's give them more than just the physical food. Let's make a difference. Let's impact their lives. Let's see lives changed, influenced, where they can be encouraged to take those lives and change their life for the better. So that's what we did there. And with Kiwanis, I just visited last week the coordinator over at the bridge. What they've done is they've taken 10 youth, 10 to 24, and they've taken them off the street and they've built little 580 square feet homes, giving them a home for a year. The parents had not disciplined them. They got into trouble. They left school, but now they have a program that they have to follow for this year where they're going to learn skills. They're going to be helped out. And then in a year, hopefully they'll have something skills learned to the point where they can then go out and get a job, whether it's a trade. You know, some of them need to further their education, so whether they go back to school, but they're going to be helped along the way. When I see somebody who's homeless or hungry, those people may have been doctors. They may have been teachers, and life hit them hard. You know, as we know, sometimes life don't dish us all out cherries. We all have experienced ups and downs. And as Ray was talking about the pornography, I thought of another story where I was traveling and I met this woman and she was crying in this pool. And I said, can I help you? Her and her husband had gone for counseling, but he had not stopped doing what he was doing. And I said, those women will never hold your husband. He's your husband. Go back and tell him you love him and you want to be the woman that he's thinking about, who he's pleased with, because you love him. Make him feel secure that he does not need that outside influence. I think what we have to do, all of us as adults, is we have to get back to the basics, whether it's in parenting, teaching, reaching out to our youth. They say it takes a community to raise a child. Isn't that true? When I saw 5 little babies being dedicated last Sunday at church, they asked everybody in the church to stand and dedicate, appreciate, and help these young parents. Because nowadays, the way that things have gone is that parents are not allowed to discipline their children. If they spank them on the butt, the police officer has to arrest them. If the school teacher or the bus driver decides to bend over and tie shoes of a little 5-year-old girl, he can be charged with sexual harassment. Come on, we have to get back to the basics. So I'm imploring, I'm asking you, can you help me and help others get back to the basics, get back to what's important? Because these children, they need discipline. They need correction. They need to know the way instead of being taught, well, you're entitled to anything. You can have anything. We can't discipline you anyways. You can do what you want. And then they don't know where to go for shelter. They don't know where to go for food. They go to drugs to get their high. But there's another high they can have. They can have a high on life. They can be happy and content inside and be protected instead of being taken advantage of. Will you help me? Will you help me? Will you help me? Because I really, truly want to get the message out that there's another way, that there's a better way. And I want to ensure these children, teenagers, and young adults, you have a choice. If you need help, there's lots of associations that will help you. I need your help. I need my help. And I need Ray's help. And I need the help of as many people as possible to be able to help get these children off the street, teach them a way, teach the parents, let the parents have control of their home and their life. And be able, I know there's times when, yes, children are abused. That's not right, as we all know. That's wrong. But let's give the parents a chance to discipline their children and raise them and teach them the right way to go, because they do have a choice. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks, Doreen. Does anyone have any questions? So I have a question. So in your bio, I read that you had 45 international students that you'd hosted. Now, so this is not just an exchange student that you're talking about. Are you? I mean, you were taking, you were like fostering troubled youth.
It wasn't through fosters, and the 45 international students, they weren't because they were troubled youth. These were through the multi-language organization in Toronto, the Waterloo Catholic School Board in Kitchener-Waterloo, and they would call me and ask me to take in these students that were coming to Canada to learn English, whether they were from China, India, Spain, various students from all over. And 4 years ago, one of my Chinese students was in third year university in Wilfrid Laurier, and he called me up and he said, "Can I take my Canadian mom out for Mother's Day?" You know, it's just was a pleasure. He was 14 when I got him, and there he was now third year Wilfrid Laurier University in business. And yeah, it was great to be able to go out to Mother's Day and celebrate. He's my son. I didn't physically born him, but these 45 kids meant a lot to me. And they, I gave them a room, I gave them helped some of them with English as well, but they were going to go to school in Kitchener-Waterloo. And yeah, I cooked for them and taught them how to do their own laundry. And yeah, it was great. Yeah.
What was the highest number that you had at one time?
3, because you couldn't have 2 from the same country, because they'd be speaking, instead of learning how to speak English, they'd be speaking their own language. So I had three at the same time. Yeah, a 5-bedroom house. My kids had grown, so I had the room as well. Yeah.
I think
Awesome.
that's awesome that you did that. I kind of do that same thing over on TikTok. I have people who young people who come and ask me questions and things because you're right. They're lost. They don't know what to do, where to go. And so it's like being a substitute mom, grandma for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I commend
Yeah.
you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks. And now I'm going into the various schools in the Leamington, Ontario area. I didn't know anybody in Leamington, but I came to help a client in his accounting. And I got involved with Kiwanis, and I just thought I can make a difference here as well with these young people. And it's proven, and the thing is, you're not doing it because for the glory. You're doing it because you care and you have this passion and you just love them. And then they feel that. They know that you care. And then their lives get changed. I'm tired. A pastor from Bradford said, I think it was last year, he buried 32 young people. And he said one young man, he said, was standing at another of his friends doing a eulogy. And 3 days later, he took his own life. We got to stop this. It's happening in the churches, it's happening in the schools. We got to stop this because our young people, they have a life ahead of them. As long as the Lord tarries, we have to encourage our youth to do well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree with you on that. I hear a lot of the things like that the kids are talking about. And actually, there's somebody one night who said, I don't feel like I have any reason to go on. And I forget what we were talking about, but right then I said, okay, we have to talk and help this person. And so we started talking to the individual, and they've been back a few times, and I actually had them send me a message saying, thank you so much. I really appreciate what you did. But you're right. People don't think anybody care anymore. I hear that a lot. Nobody cares. So why should I go on?
Yeah. We have to show them that we do. We do care. Let's sit down. Let's talk. What's bothering you? How can I help you? Yeah. We got to lead them.
Well, thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Doreen.
Thank
Thanks
you very
for
much.
speaking and sharing with us today.
Thank you.
All right, we're at the time to close. So,
all right. Well, great seeing you again. Take care.
Yep.
See ya.
Yes, it was a pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye for now.
Bye.
All right, we want to thank everyone that's participated today. Those who spoke, as well as those who just came to listen. And we want to invite you to join us again. And so watch your emails for chances to attend or also to sign up and speak if you'd like to. All right. And we want to thank our speakers today, Amanda, Ernesto, Ray, Paul, Dr. Luana, and Doreen. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time.